Hello and welcome to Oweleketv. My name is Antonia Nwokolo. The news headlines. Federal government moves to address Nigeria's deficit in human capital development. ATIKU accuses Tinubu, APC of undermining democracy. Buhari opens up on Naira redesign policy amid Emefele's ordeal. In the foreign scene, Donald Trump's tribute to Rosalind Carter raises eyebrows. And in sports, Professional Footballers Association of Nigeria tells NFF to sack Pesero now to avert another World Cup miss.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleke.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back. Vice President Kashim Shettima on Monday approved the setting up of a multi-sectoral committee as part of moves to drive the goals of the Human Capital Development HCD program of the federal government. The multi-sectoral team, made up of the federal and state governments as well as donors and partners, is expected to convene every fortnight to review the progress of work in addressing the objectives of the HCD program. This was the major outcome of the Vice President's meeting with World Bank's Country Director for Nigeria, Shubham Chaudhary, the Chairman of the Dangote Foundation, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Tony Elumelu, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, among others at the State House in Abuja. At the meeting, Shettima stressed the need for governments and partners to invest in human capital development to create a workforce that is not just globally competitive but also adaptable to the modern demands of the 21st century. Acknowledging the significant impact of the two Nigerian wealthy businessmen, Dangote and Elumelu, have had on the population, the Vice President noted that every society rises and falls depending on the quality of its leadership. Earlier in his speech, the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, noted the current efforts the federal government made in putting the people at the center of the renewed hope agenda, even as he underscored the importance of investing in human resources. He noted that going forward, stakeholders involved in the Human Capital Development Program of the Tinubu administration would reinforce and harness existing data to ensure accountability and accuracy in the implementation of programs and projects under the initiative. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the last election, Atiku Abubakar, has accused President Bola Tinubu and his party, the All Progressives Congress, that is APC, of using underhand tactics to undermine democracy. Atiku, in a statement on Monday by Paul Ibe, his media advisor, said just like in Lagos when President Tinubu was governor, the president is now deploying a series of tactics to undermine the opposition and turn the country into a one-party state. He accused the judiciary of turning itself into a willing tool in the hands of the ruling party, alleging that the third arm of government has become cash and carry. The former vice president said the situation is getting more curious that all the states where the courts have made controversial declaration are states being controlled by the opposition political parties, adding that what the ruling party missed out on the election day are being delivered to them through the courts. In a statement by Bayo Onanuga, the president's advisor on information and strategy, the presidency said it was unbecoming of Atiku and the People's Democratic Party to attempt to mudslinging the judiciary just because verdicts did not go in their favor, when the party had, as recently as 2019, benefited immensely from similar judicial pronouncements. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has finally opened up on the controversial Naira redesign policy that plunged the country into a cash crunch crisis. In his first interview since leaving office 6 months ago, Buhari explained that he endorsed the controversial Naira redesign policy to protect his integrity and emphasized that there are no shortcuts to success. He credited divine intervention for his 2015 election victory and defended the criticized Naira policy by stating that Nigeria, an underdeveloped country, face challenges with materialism. In a recent interview, Buhari expressed that governing Nigerians is challenging because they are often reluctant to follow the right course of action. Stakeholders have urged philanthropists to contribute funds towards the elimination of neglected tropical diseases to meet the 2030 targets in Nigeria. The call was made at an NTDS roundtable meeting in Abuja to mark Site Savers' 70th anniversary in the country. The Director of Public Health, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Chukwuma Anyike, said more funds will help in eliminating NTDS, improve health status, and prevent mortality and morbidity in the country. Also, the NTDS National Coordinator at the Ministry, Dr. Fatai Oyediro, noted that strategies were already in place to mobilize funding from local resources to eliminate NTDS in the country. Oyediro therefore called on philanthropists like Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Femi Otedola, Emeka Ofo, T.Y. Danjuma, and others to support the government in eliminating diseases in the country. Let's now go on a short break. We'll be right back.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleke.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back. In business, the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, Dr. Aminu Maida, has charged telecom operators on quality of service, while affirming that he would not tolerate any excuses in that regard. Maida, who gave the charge at an interactive session with operators in the industry in Lagos, averred that his administration will focus on quality of service and compliance. He, however, stated that his top priorities are to improve coverage and connectivity by bridging access gaps between rural and urban communities through increased broadband infrastructure, as well as increasing the quality of service and quality of experience for the consumers to enable them to get value for their money. Maida promised to create a more conducive environment for investment in the sector and inject new thinking into how the Universal Service Provision Fund, that is USPF, would be leveraged to bridge the digital divide in the country. In their reactions, telecom operators assured the new executive vice chairman of their full support while appealing to him to tackle major challenges in the industry. In the foreign scene, Donald Trump's tribute to Rosalynn Carter has prompted some reasons to question whether he wrote it. In a statement by the Carter Center, the former First Lady died at the age of 96 on Sunday after living with dementia at her home in Plains, Georgia. Jimmy Carter, the former Democratic president, and her husband of 77 years, has been in hospice care for several months. Trump, who is leading the race for the Republican presidential nomination in 2024, was among those who paid tribute to Rosalynn Carter, describing her as a great humanitarian and champion for mental health. A camera monitored for the first time on Tuesday in India the 41 workers who had been trapped for 10 days in a collapsed tunnel and showed that they were all alive as rescue workers continued trying to build a new way out. The trapped workers appeared exhausted and anxious, according to footage broadcast by a small camera that was lowered through a narrow tube through which air, food, and water were provided to them. The stranded workers, wearing protective helmets on their heads, circled around the camera, according to footage distributed by the Indian authorities. The Indian authorities also say that rescue workers are seeking to build a new road to extract the trapped workers after drilling work was suspended for fear of new collapses. However, the work of shoveling tons of soil and rocks to reach the workers was suspended at the end of the week after a large crack occurred the previous day, causing fears that the roof might collapse. Meanwhile, engineers are trying to insert a cylindrical steel pipe about 19 centimeters wide into the rubble, enough for the trapped men to pass through. In the entertainment space, a federal high court sitting in Lagos has granted a cost against Folashade Samuels, a nominal complainant and fourth respondent, in the suit by popular relationship expert Ms. Blessing Okoro, also known as Blessing CEO, against the Inspector General of Police and others over her alleged illegal detention in 2022. In a fundamental human rights enforcement suit filed in February, Ms. Okoro had demanded a 75 million naira damages for her illegal detention, allegedly instigated by Mrs. Samuel to embarrass her. In the suit filed by her lawyer, Mr. Prince Nwafuru, Ms. Okoro challenged the legality of her detention by the police on December 15, 2022, following a second petition by Mrs. Samuels, despite the fact that the same police had earlier granted her administrative bail on an earlier petition by the same complainant. Okoro claimed that the second petition, which led to her arrest, was ill-advised, based on false information and totally made in bad faith, and further argued that Mrs. Samuels had rushed to police in Abuja when she felt disappointed that the police at Panti granted her administrative bail. Seeking restraining injunctions against the police, Ms. Okoro also insisted that the entire episode was orchestrated to embarrass her, as the police allowed Samuels to take her picture and circulate to bloggers. In sports, the Professional Footballers Association of Nigeria (PFAN) has urged the Nigerian Football Federation to sack Super Eagles coach Jose Peseiro with immediate effect if it wants the country to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Nigeria failed to qualify for the Qatar 2022 World Cup on the away goals rule after drawing goalless away to Ghana and playing a 1-1 draw in Abuja. Meanwhile, against expectations, the Super Eagles managed to hold Lesotho to a 1-1 draw in Uyo and went to Rwanda to record another 1-1 draw with the Warriors of Zimbabwe in the 2026 World Cup qualifying series at the weekend. Peseiro blamed Nigeria's poor results on fatigue, saying the players were tired after the long journey to Rwanda. However, the chairman of the Professional Football Association of Nigeria Task Force, Harrison Jala, disagreed with Peseiro, saying that the coach is a misfit and is only looking for where to put the blame. He, however, asked the NFF to sack him immediately. Just before we go, a recap of the headlines. Federal government moves to address Nigeria's deficit in human capital development. ATIKU accuses Tinubu, APC of undermining democracy. Buhari opens up on Naira redesign policy amidst Emefiele's ordeal. In the foreign scene, Donald Trump's tribute to Oweleketv raises eyebrows. And in sports, Professional Footballer Association of Nigeria tells NFF to sack Peseiro now to avert another World Cup miss. And that's the package on our news bulletin. Kindly follow us on all our social media platforms at Oweleketv. Our website is www.oweleke.tv. I am Antonia Nwokolo. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.